All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam. Riots, of course, across Europe. Delivery of nuclear weapons. The elite just cashed in all at the same time. And, of course, the richest man in the world said a civil conflict is imminent. Let's get into it. First of all, if you have not heard, and again, there's a lot of people that have not. I just talked to two people on the phone. These are close family friends that just actually moved because of the crazy, crazy price here in the Northwest, and they had no idea this was happening right now. The Dow tumbles 1,000 points. S&P down 500, posts worst day since 2022 in global market sell-off. Now, I actually was seeing clips of news broadcasters saying that the 1,000 points has never happened before, that we, of course, have been lower than this in other events, but to have that much of a drop in one day, they said made history. So I don't know if that is true, but again, this is a massive event. All of the main companies, huge companies, all were down at the same time. All of them. Stocks fell sharply on Monday, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average posting its worst day in nearly 2 years, as worries over the health of the U.S. economy sparked a global market sell-off. The Dow dropped over 1,000 points, 1,033 points, or 2.6% to end at 38,703. The NASDAQ Composite lost 3.43%, closed at 16,200, while the S&P slid 3% at the end at 5,186. The blue chip Dow and S&P 500 registered their biggest daily losses since September of 2022. Japan's stock market posted its worst drop since Wall Street's Black Monday in 1987. So that should say something right there, contributing to fears of a global turmoil in the markets. Now, this is among the riots in the streets in the UK, which are directly related to essentially the dividing that is happening right now between almost every cast of people. And then, of course, fears of a U.S. recession were the main culprit for the global market meltdown after Friday's disappointing July jobs report. Investors are also concerned that the Federal Reserve is behind in cutting interest rates to bolster an economic slowdown, with the central bank choosing instead to keep rates at the highest in 2 decades last week. Of course, Warren Buffett and these big head honchos all cashed in just giant chunks of their stocks. This, to me, is super obvious. We have talked about this for a very long time, and now all of the actual events are happening, and people are starting to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. And one thing after another, we're essentially seeing the lead up to a world war, and you are seeing every last sign that people are absolutely in the background. The very richest, most elite people are not only building bunkers, they're cashing in, they're getting their golden passports. That should tell you something. Again, crazy, crazy stuff happening. In fact, we're going to talk about the emergency meeting that happened after the riots. Downing Street, of course, condemning a lot of what's going on. We're going to talk about Elon Musk and how he says that a civil conflict there is imminent. And then North Korean leader, of course, is now marking the delivery of 250 nuclear missiles. Before we do that, I do want to remind you guys, we're completely independent. If you want to help us, again, go over to marfoogle.com/EMP. This is not only going to help us, it's going to get you protected. This is a device that you can trust that will protect you and your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, pretty much anything that runs, including your generators and your home, even your ham radio, against not only EMP, electromagnetic pulse attack from an adversary, but it will also ground the signal from a CME or a Carrington level event from the sun. In less than 500 trillionths of a second, the same device that is protecting agencies like DOD, DHS, and now the DEMSO team with the Texas grid, you can actually get your stuff protected as well and help an independent channel and get $50 off per device. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. You wouldn't want to not get the discount. Again, go check it out. Go over there, see the Keystone military tests. Go and, of course, learn more at that marfooglenews.com/EMP. Let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine. But the rich are getting richer, that's for sure.
Yeah, the rich are getting richer. The poor are getting more desperate and angry.
Did you hear who was up? So, this was so crazy this morning when it happened because, it sort of settled back down through the day. Obviously, it's still a major day. But in the morning when the markets opened, everybody was just raring for a Black Monday, saying it was going to be horrific. It sort of was. But at the same time, who do you think was up? It's amazing. Not amazing. It's no surprise. Lockheed was going up. Northrop Grumman had opened higher than they did when they closed on Friday. The military-industrial complex was in full swing. They did end up closing a little down, but nowhere near down as the rest of the market. So what does that tell you guys?
And I'm sure Raytheon and who knows? I wonder, what was Boeing? Did you see what Boeing was at? I know Boeing's having, of course, all of the craziness going on there.
Yeah, they were down 1.7% today, so and they were down worse than the other military industrial companies, but yeah. And
then they said Apple cratered 4.8% after Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway cut its stake in the iPhone maker in half. So giant drop there. Nvidia tumbled 6.4% Monday, bringing its decline from its 52-week high to nearly 29%. Now, that one actually confuses me because NVIDIA is supposed to be the future, because NVIDIA is making these chips that have everything to do with AI and all of the future of everything that's going on. So NVIDIA, if you did not know, has been just, going crazy because they are a big part of this whole AI evolution, right? So, and then, of course, other losers included Tesla, down 4.2%, all of these, right? Now, besides the stock market very well, if everything was going fine, if the world went back to normal, people realize that there's lows. Well, there's also these kind of events that tell you that something is about to happen. The stock market, like this, shows a lot of people just cashed in their stocks, and they say it's because, they saw the jobs market and they saw this and the turmoil that's going on. I understand that there's a lot of these people that are insider traders. A lot of these people at the very, very top, they get a heads up. Understand that is not some myth. These people do insider trading. One good example is right before they launched a certain thing that everybody was really, they had to do, some had to do it to keep their job. Certain politicians somehow knew that it was going to launch in a certain time period, and they just happened to do a ton of stock moves. So there's moves like that where they were actually even investigated about it, and guess what? Nothing really happens. So a lot of these folks know exactly when to move their money. These are not idiots. They are very, very rich, and they're very rich for a reason. They know the right people. They get the heads up and they get told. So what is about to happen? Well, we've been telling you for a very long time. We're only 3 months away from the Pick the Prez, and they're already lining us up for major events. So, Dex, let's go over the Starmer calls emergency meeting after the riots flare across Britain.
So this is, if you live in the UK, I think this is probably your all-consuming news right now, because even someone in chat said, let me pull it up, Lord McCormick said UK cities are burning, government called state of emergency, playbook distraction, divide and conquer, play 100% UK media silence on the Middle East. It says we're being set up. So when we talk about this MSM piece about it, you're going to hear like it's downplayed. It's, it was only in a few cities. It only happened in a couple things. But if you were to say go to another media outlet like say X, you're going to find just a ton of information about what's going on. And what is happening, and I'm not going to say which side is right. I'll just leave that for you guys to decide. But what is happening is there was an event where someone had perished, and they blamed it on someone coming in from outside of the country, and that kicked off, I think actually 3 people had perished, young people had perished, girls, and that kicked off a negative sentiment towards that, which then it turned into all-out rioting. So if you haven't seen it over the weekend, it was, we can't show it, but they were going nuts in a lot of different places, and some are suggesting it was, rightfully so, and others are suggesting it's wrong, and some are saying it's overblown, and others are saying it's not being covered well enough. So you've got all sides of this story coming in from everywhere.
And all I keep hearing is the direction of the people that are doing this. One thing that I do know is that people are starting to get fed up with just everything around us. And this is in every country. We've explained this to you. If you're in the United States right now, understand that the exact same thing is happening in almost all of our allied countries. People are getting fed up. And people are getting fed up because the same exact things are happening to them as well. In Europe, one of the main news stories in Europe is all about the people coming in. Same thing here. The same issues are popping up all over the world. But yet, nobody really thinks about the fact that all of these corporations that are now global, that now have a huge chunk of power in almost every country, and are sitting at the very, very, very top of these groups and these organizations and these committees that are making decisions for the world, the foundations, the forums, the groups. These groups are all made up of all of the very, very top people of all of these corporations. You see these meetings that happen once a year or once every year, or happen in summer camps in the woods. These meetings, if you look at the names, not only is it Prime Minister, President, Prince, you also see CEO, owner. You see all of that, founder, operator, CFO. All of these people are the most important people in the world. When they meet up, they're deciding our future. And our future, they want to drastically change in just a short amount of years. For that to happen, something has to be broke and built back again. Dex, go ahead.
And the divide right now, even between, say, the media, like in this particular article, they go so far as to say the far, other side, the right, as they call it, are falsely accusing the person of being from outside of the country and stoking all of this stuff, right? So on one hand, you've got this media side that's really trying to downplay it, but at the same time, paint this picture of that side being really horrific for falsely doing this, right? But then on the other side, you've got all of these people that aren't just running willy-nilly on a at least it doesn't appear to be, on a fake narrative either. And if they are, that's kind of crazy, but I'm not buying it personally. But when the fact that they're programming this type of divide, even if they want to and not acknowledge it, but just create the divide even further, they're not bringing anybody together. They're absolutely looking to push everyone apart intentionally.
And it says that the Prime Minister is preparing emergency court settings, getting prosecutors to work longer hours and weekends to process cases, and the redeployment of police if necessary. I mean, and we're just coming off of a week where Paris just went through absolute craziness. Of course, they had their train system actually attacked by arson. Then they had a huge swaths of power outages, and we don't know if that was actually a hack, if that was an attack. Again, there's varying opinions about all of that as well, because they said that there were going to be more events in Paris. So you've got all of these countries popping off right now. And, of course, Downing Street condemns Elon Musk for claim that a civil war is inevitable in the UK amid that direction, riots and attacks. Of course, there's a reason why we say the things that we do for again, they're marking everything. Downing Street has condemned Elon Musk for his claim that civil war is inevitable for Britain, saying that there is no justification for comments like that. The spokesperson added that we're talking about a minority of thugs that do not speak for Britain. Now, if you go to Elon Musk's actual platform, you will see that there is a ton of video evidence that this is not just a few people. This is a lot. And the videos are quite crazy. And I'm sure if you go over there, you'll see pretty much every one page, you're going to see a video of it. Misinformation on Mr. Musk's social media platform X has been blamed for helping fuel the far-right riots and attacks, following lies about the identity of the suspect in Southport attack. Of course, disorder continued across the weekends as these, and they literally labeled them. And by the way, most people are not talking about who they are or where they're from. They're literally talking about the event itself. And it says with police in Hull, Halifax, Liverpool, London, Southport, and Rotherham. So just a couple places, right? And started fires at hotels, housing asylums in Manvers, Tamworth, and in others, they say, are now starting up. Even at nighttime, they say that people were amassing in groups. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll follow it. But this is due for the course. We knew this was all going to happen. Our community has been seeing this being built up, all the dividing that has been going on. Look at what's going to happen next. If you think that that's all over there, just think about what's happening here. We're one wrongful police perishing away from our own. And then North Korean leader marks delivery of 250 nuclear-capable missile launchers to frontline units. My opinion, you guys know, is always that North Korea will be the trigger for a larger weapon to start the whole chain of China, Taiwan, Israel, Iran, Russia, Ukraine, Venezuela, Guyana. So I see movement of all of this. I see our movement. I see the drills, and I think, what the heck? Dex, why don't you cover and tell us what happened here?
Yeah, so basically they have moved. They marked it as a special event, but they've moved 250 nuclear-capable missile launchers to the frontline military units. And then they had a big ceremony where Kim came out and said he wanted a ceaseless expansion of his military's nuclear program to counter the threats from the West, or from the U.S. and South Korea. So that's in a nutshell. The 250 nuclear-capable missile launchers are now on the front line. That's the important part. That's what they're telling us. And again, this is not moving towards peace. This is the continuation of moving towards conflict. And he is probably, as you said, Adam, we've said it over and over again, going to be the pawn or the one used to create that distraction, if you want to call it, or a conflict in the North, in the Pacific, to pull the U.S. in that direction.
And you look at what is the U.S. military and other militaries thinking right now? Well, just about 6-7 months ago, we don't know if this is based on intelligence, but we had some confirmation afterwards. The U.S. and South Korea did a very specific drill. This drill was essentially responding. Instead of the cut the head off the snake drill that they do every year, and every year Kim Jong-un has a problem with, they did a different drill. They compared North Korea to Hamas, and they said they made the scenario essentially an October 7 type event where North Korea, in their hypothetical drill scenario, would attack South Korea first, would do the first strike. They then drilled on how to respond to it, and they even had jets and aircraft basically mock go in and take out all of the artillery that was firing over into South Korea. A few days later, North Korea actually confirmed something like that. Do you remember what North Korea said? They essentially said, we'll strike first, or they said that they were practicing or planning a drill on striking South Korea first. Was that what it was? I'm trying to remember the exact story, but I know that they confirmed that they were talking about first strikes.
Yeah, I don't recall. Sorry.
So as far as the event there, now, all of a sudden, you have 250 launchers that are now on the front lines. It seems like we're just getting set up left and right. If this was to kick off, my theory is North Korea would be the number one. And not because I'm so afraid of North Korea and that North Korea is this big bad power. I think North Korea is a pawn of a bigger picture. And the bigger picture, I think, is very clear when you do follow this and you look at the patterns and the buildup and everything that has gone into this framework. So when that happens, we won't care if there's vindication, because when that happens, we know that something massive, bigger than life, is about to pop off. So I sure hope that they do not use this. I hope this is the normal saber rattling that they do. But with everything else going on, it's like, why are the stocks doing this right now? Why over the last 3 days has everybody been dumping their stocks like they just got a memo? Like they just got an email say, hey, call your money guy. It's like they're waiting for some of the richest elites to get a hold of their guy on the golf course and be like, hey, buddy, can you move some money for me? It, again, reminds me of the movie Leave the World Behind, where he's like, well, maybe they don't know what's going on. This guy said he was moving a bunch of money. He's a big guy in defense contracting, and he says, yeah, I want to move a bunch of money. And he says, the best thing, maybe there is no strings pulling the puppets. Maybe the best that these guys could hope for is a heads up. Well, it certainly looks like somebody got a heads up recently. I don't think it's based on all of this chatter and speculation, because those rich people know what the news is actually saying, and they know what's speculation. They also know what's, BS, because they're the ones making it up and writing it. So what do you guys think? And then at the same time, and these are all connected, Venezuela and Guyana, just like all of these other countries I just listed off, Venezuela did a vote to say, hey, should we take over Guyana and get our resources back? Well, of course, they say Maduro possibly even got a small group of his closest followers to do the vote. And of course, his closest followers were yes men and said yes. We don't know if that was exactly what it is, but that's what they're saying. And of course, they said yes to it. Yeah, we should take Guyana. Well, now it says, of course, what happens if you fail the final test? A shot between your eyes, different. I wonder if American will be funding it for free tuition. Venezuela plans to create re-education camps for political dissidents. Now, they have talked about Guyana, and now there's this whole thing where they're fighting over who actually won. We, again, don't know if the other side will have any way to actually get in if they truly did win. But right now, they're talking about re-education. That is one scary-ass word. Again, very, very crazy. Dex, we're talking about camps here. And with all of the other things going on, their close ties with Iran, that's really alarming.
It is. And what's also interesting is this is coming from MSN and not MSM, MSN. And it's also coming out as more of a headline. There's nothing else behind it. They're just putting it out that he has plans to create these kind of summer camps, if you want to call them that, which they're not really that at all. It's pretty scary when you think about it. We've seen this from other dictators. I'm sure we've got this going on in, say, North Korea, if you do something wrong. And you see this in other places as well. So, but yeah, that's the plan according to this headline.
So we'll end up seeing what's going on top of the stock market crash. The Middle East, we haven't even touched on that. And again, if you want to join us for our full coverage of everything that's about to going on, and again, now they think that an imminent attack is on its way. Now there's actual troop movements that are happening right now. You have major naval forces being deployed and moved around. We're going to talk about all of that and so much more over on Marfoogle TV. If you're in the chat already, just stay here. If you're watching this as a replay, highly recommend you either click that description down below, or if you want to join us for the next show, just click here right now. We'll see you in a few minutes over on Marfoogle TV, our sister channel. See you guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss a show. Don't look outside. There's